Alright, so this evening we're going to go into what exactly a mineral is and actually some of the characteristics of minerals. A little bit later we'll get into identifying minerals. That way you can just pick one up and kind of figure out what it is based on a couple of different tests that we can do. So what exactly is a mineral? We have about 4,000 minerals that we know of. About 40 to 50 new minerals are identified each year, and a lot of those are actually on the periodic table. So if you're familiar with that, a lot of the minerals are on the periodic table. There's only about 100 common minerals, so that's pretty much the periodic table. About 20 minerals make up most of the Earth's crust. So if you know anything about the layers of the Earth, which we'll get into a little bit later this year, there's about 20 minerals that are located on our crust that we can actually pick up and find, and we don't have to go mining into the mantle, which is the next layer deeper than the crust. Native elements occur in nature in pure form, and some of these examples are gold, copper, diamond, sulfur, graphite, silver, and platinum. So we don't need to do anything to these minerals to make them into something that we can use. We can just kind of pick them off up the ground, and there we have our mineral. So the formal definition of a mineral, they are actually compounds, which is a chemical combination of two or more elements. Now the periodic table is elements, okay? So that's why some of the minerals are already on the periodic table, because some of them are just their own thing, like gold, we know is AU. And things like that. But sometimes minerals have to be compounded and to make a chemical formula in order to make the actual mineral. So you have these minerals, they're compounds most of the time, so they're a couple different elements mashed together, and then rocks are actually those minerals mashed together into an even bigger thing, and those are called rocks. Now sometimes organic matter, which is shells, kind of once living things, are in rocks, but once living things are never in minerals, okay? Some minerals are elements, like I said before, like copper, gold, and diamond, so you'll find those on the periodic table. Classification of minerals, so we have a couple different groups of minerals. 95% of Earth's crust is made of silicates, okay? And these are minerals made of silicon and oxygen, and your biggest example is going to be quartz. Sulfide is another group of minerals, and these are made of sulfur. Sulfite is made of sulfur and oxygen. Carbonate is carbon and oxygen, and your example is calcite, and that's the chemical formula if you want to, which is just a compound. It's those two elements kind of put together. And oxide is oxygen, okay? So cordonum is your example for that one, and that's the chemical combination for that one right there. Halide is also another one, and that's just salt. Alright, so this is when you need to start filling out your notes if you haven't already. The characteristics of all minerals, okay? So this is very important. The first one is that it is always inorganic, meaning it is not made of things that were once living, and it's definitely not living. It's natural, so it's found in nature, okay? It's not man-made. It's solid, so minerals cannot be a liquid. You cannot have a liquid mineral or anything like that. It's a compound, or it's just one element. And it also has a crystal system, and we can take a look at some of those under a microscope, so that way you can kind of see the crystallized system that's within the mineral itself. Alright, so inorganic means it's never alive, it's not from something alive, and rocks can only have organic matter. Minerals cannot. Naturally occurring means it's not synthetic or artificial or man-made. Solid means that it's a solid at room temperature. Okay, it doesn't mean that it's a solid when you put it into the fridge. So water is not a mineral because at room temperature it is a liquid. Chemical composition, so some of them are a single element in pure form, like we said, like copper, diamonds, gold, sulfur, things like that. But most are compounds like quartz that have those two elements put together, and then we get quartz, or cinnabar. Rocks are mixtures, whereas minerals are compounds, okay? The last characteristic is a crystal system, which is just a repeating pattern with flat sides called faces, and most are only visible with a microscope. So you'd have to take a mineral to a microscope to see that it has a crystal system. Alright, so you can fill out your lab sheet when you get to school tomorrow, so don't worry about this. And we'll identify some minerals tomorrow. But these all are similar in color, so we would try to figure out how they are different, because actually all three of these are all different, okay? They're not the same mineral. So you would need to look at the chemical formulas for gold, pyrite, and calipyrite, okay? So this one is actually gold, A over here, pyrite is in the middle, and the last one is over here. Okay, so we'll take a look at those tomorrow in class. And we'll go over that a little bit later.